Welcome back. A bipartisan bill now in the hands of the state assembly would require health insurance to cover additional screenings for women with dense breast tissue.
The bill recently passed the state Senate 32-1. During the floor debate, Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu revealed his 46-year-old wife was diagnosed with breast cancer earlier this year.
You know, my wife is the exact type of person that this bill is intended to help.
The bill is known as Gail's Law, inspired by Gail Zemer from Neenah, who died of breast cancer last year. Her family is now pushing lawmakers to keep her legacy alive. Steve Zemer is Gail's husband. He joins us now from Neenah. Steve, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I am so sorry for your loss, and we'll get into Gail's story here in just a second, but I do want to start with this bill. It's been proposed for years now. Gail even pushed for it when she was alive. How are you feeling now that we are closer to a finish line than this bill has ever been?
I'm very optimistic at this point. I mean, you know, obviously information has come out over the years. You know, Gail was diagnosed initially almost 10 years ago already now, and the amount of information that's out there now versus 10 years ago is substantially different. And so, you know, I understand there's a learning curve involved, there's a process involved to get all the information that you need, but at this point in time, it just makes sense.
How would this bill, and specifically what the bill and the legislation outlines in terms of health insurance providing coverage, how would this bill have helped in Gail's case?
You know, it would have helped in our case. You know, the situation at the time, you know, we had two kids in middle school and early high school, and, you know, the day-to-day life, the expenses of it, you know, not knowing that this was something that was available, it wasn't something we could really swing at that point in time. And I consider us a middle-class family. We're not like, you know, we had some means to do things, but it still made it hard. And so at the end of the day, versus, you know, the kids getting braces or her getting these extra screenings that were substantial, you know, had substantial cost to them, you know, it just wasn't a thing that we looked at. But now, knowing what we know and that extra step of having the supplemental screenings covered would have made a total difference. I say it all along. If we knew then what we know now, Gail would still be here yet.
Yeah, when Gail was alive, we know that she fought for another law that requires doctors to tell women if they have dense breast tissue. What do you think that she would make of you and your daughters fighting for this law?
I think she would be happy. I think she would be proud of the fact, you know, when she passed away last year, you know, there was a lot of conversations within our family. What do we do with Gail's legacy? What do we do to try and, you know, carry the ball forward, because she was so passionate about it and she wanted this to get done. And the level of disappointment, you know, the first two times that it didn't get out of the Senate committee were you know, disheartening and frustrating on some level. And so honestly, like this is Gail's legacy. This, you know, the fact that it carries her name, this is her legacy, and this is what, you know, we want her to be remembered for.
Steve Zemer joining us from Neenah. Thank you so much for your time and for the work you're doing to turn your pain into purpose. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
With that, let's bring in Republican State Representative Amanda Nowesky. She's spearheading this bill in the Assembly. Representative, good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
In terms of this breast cancer legislation, first, do you have the votes in the Assembly to pass it once it gets through committee to the floor?
I think we do.
You think you do?
I think we do.
And this has been a while. This has been a work in the making for you. What's gotten us to this point?
Well, this is the third legislative session that the bill is making its way through both chambers. This is the first time I am an author on this bill, and I'm very happy to be a part of the project. I think that the thing that's different this time around is that so many other states have passed similar legislation that we now have a lot of data to support that it's working, and that the concerns that some of our members may have had in the past sessions have been addressed with data that shows, you know, anything related to increased premiums or increased costs has kind of been, those concerns have been addressed.
I was going to say, State Senator Chris Kavanagh was the only Republican in the state Senate who voted against this. And he said, while I understand the financial pain a patient can face with healthcare, testing and procedures, a government mandate forces an insurance company to spread the cost to its customers. So you don't think that necessarily would be the case?
So as a financial analyst by trade, I had my own skepticism about this bill to begin with. And I said, well, let me see how successful it's been in other states and what the impact has been, not only on patients, but on other ratepayers, other people who have, pay premiums. So Maryland and Louisiana, before passing similar legislation, did a cost analysis and found that with utilization of this legislation in place, that the impact to premiums for all people would be about 4 to 7 cents per month per member. So you're talking about less than $1 a year. I mean, I think it's worthwhile for us to invest in our moms and grandmas and sisters and daughters for less than $1 a year.
Do you have the assurance that Governor Tony Evers will sign this?
He has said publicly he will sign it, so I'm very excited about that.
Let's talk about the DPI bill you introduced this week. The state superintendent testified before a state Senate committee after a lot of questions about how the state handles accusations of sexual misconduct and grooming. You hand-delivered a copy of the bill to the state superintendent in that hearing. It would define grooming and make it a felony. What is the purpose of this, and why is this needed now in Wisconsin law?
So Wisconsin does not have a law that criminalizes grooming, and I think it's tricky because there's some gray area on what that behavior looks like. There was a case about 18 months ago in Kenosha with a teacher and a middle school aged student where there was grooming going on for a long time. And during the investigation, they collected lots of evidence that was just that, didn't cross the line of existing law in, crimes against children. So when it came time to charge the predator, the perpetrator, they could only charge him with disorderly conduct. So there are multiple charges of disorderly conduct that he pled guilty to, but that's misdemeanor, and he's only in jail for a short while. Whereas we have states like Florida and Illinois that have very strong laws that criminalize the act of grooming.
You heard a lot of testimony from law enforcement, DPI as well. Are you concerned about any risk that the bill could go too far?
No, not at all.
Okay, or
no,
even validate any accusations that may not be true?
I'm not concerned about that at all. We're going to put our trust in our law enforcement and our prosecutors. So I worked very closely on this bill with Chief Patrick Patton from the Kenosha Police Department and his team of internet crimes against children folks, and as well as the detective in that Enright case that I mentioned. Yeah. And then I also worked with District Attorney Eric Toney and District Attorney Xavier Solis. So I think that we've got a lot of great input on this bill. The door is open. I worked with my Democrat colleague the other day on some suggestions that they have for the bill. There's huge bipartisan support, and we have time to vet out those risks, and I think that we'll get there. We'll get to a good place.
I was going to say there is bipartisan support,
yeah.
so you're confident that this will cross the finish line this session.
Yeah, and I think DPI has told me they want this. It doesn't pertain to license investigation. This would be in the criminal code, but it would give them a clearer guideline about what grooming actually is. So we're excited that there's support all around.
Do you think there needs to be stronger regulations on the licensing part of that, on DPI's part?
Well, the immoral conduct law that we talked about in our hearing on 151.31, or I think it's 115.31, has been in place for a very long time. It's a very broad definition. It's a much lower bar than the criminal standard. And then, if someone can't say that grooming is immoral conduct, then I'm not sure if they should be the one investigating the behavior. So I think that law already is broad enough to cover that kind of misconduct. I don't think we need to make any changes there.
A conversation that will definitely continue. State Representative Amanda Nidweski, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Up next, the latest on the government shutdown and the latest from Wisconsin's U.S. senators.